Good morning, students. So, this is the second class of Foundation of Psychology, BPCC-131. And today we will study about sensation and perception, which is the unit 2 of your block 2. And before going through it, we should revise what we have done in your first class. So, in the first class, we have learned about the basics of psychology. What are the basics of psychology? We have studied about the definition of psychology, how the word psychology has been made, and how psychology has emerged through many years, how psychology has emerged. And we have done then about the various perspectives, various in research in psychology. So now we start from sensation and perception. So sensation, in the most basic terms, sensation is what the organs do. So in a sense, we can say sensation is your window to the world. That what our sense organs are taking information from the environment. And sometimes people confuse between sensation and perception. So perception is interpreting what comes in your window. So sensation is your window to the world, what we are seeing in the world, what we are hearing. And this is perception. Okay, perception we will done it later in this lesson. Now we will focus on sensation. So the relationship between various forms of sensory stimulation like electromagnetic pressure, sound wave, and the registration by sense organs, eyes, tongue, skin, ear is the proper of sensation. So what is sensation? Sensation is the various form of sensory stimulation that we are getting from our sense organs. And you all know sense organs are the eyes, tongue, skin, ears. We have 5 sense organs. So it is, and this definition of sensation is the fully components. Like we are talking about the 4 components in this definition. First, involvement of sense organs of the organism. Okay, whatever the information we are getting from the environment, we are getting through our sense organs. There is no other way to get the information from the environment. Either we are seeing the things, either we are hearing the things, either we are smelling, either we are tasting, and either we are something expressing on our skin. So, and second thing is presence of stimulus in the physical environment. Now, what is the stimulus? Whatever comes in the environment is the stimulus. For example, if you are seeing this video, if you are seeing this class in your mobile or in your laptop, this is also a type of stimulus. Okay, so constructing knowledge out of raw material. Now, what we do, we usually in sensation, the raw material is all around us. Okay? So we get the knowledge from that raw material. And fourth, this contact is without meaning. We are not drawing any meaning from any stimulus which we are seeing. Sensation is just only the initial contact between us, between our sense organs and the stimulus. Now, for an example, okay, you are smelling the very pleasant fragrance of a rose, and you are getting the fragrance through your sense organs, nose. Okay, so what is the stimulus here? Here the stimulus is rose, and you are smelling the fragrance of the rose. So you are feeling something, and it is constructing knowledge out of raw stimulus material. That rose is raw, and you are constructing knowledge that rose smells very nice. Okay, so you have just the initial contact without clear cut knowledge of the source, that is rose, and feeling up to this stage in sensation. So it is a starting point of knowledge or presence of any object around us. So this is sensation, and if you go further, if you go further towards further information about the role, what is this kind of roles, how roles are differentiated, and okay, this rose is smelling this much, this rose is smelling like this. So that will be different. That will be goes towards perception. When you trying to interpret the understanding, when you trying to interpret the knowledge from that, that will be perception. So this is sensation. This is just the starting part of the knowledge. Now various psychologists have given the various definition of it. So Sanderson and Huffman has said it is a process by which we detect and convert raw sensory data from our body and the environment and then transmit it to our brain. So what is the sensation? Is this a process by which we detect and convert? Okay, okay, you are detecting the raw sensory data through your sense organs. Either you are seeing it, touching it, tasting it, smelling it, or hearing it. And what you are doing, and we are transmitting it to our brain. Okay, so this is the definition of the sensation according to Sanderson and Huffman. Example like feeling the sun on our skin. Sometimes we feel very hot due to the sun. Sometimes we take an umbrella to avoid this. We put on clothes toward the portion, on which we are feeling the heat. Sometimes, like we are tasting our favorite food, we know through our tongue whether the food is sweet, whether the food is sour, whether it is salty or whether it is bitter, and we send this information to the brain for us to experience the taste. Okay, now, human senses and physical energy. See, there are various examples of, there can be various examples of the sensation. For example, the beautiful sun sight of sunrise, the beautiful sight of sunset, cracking when you're starting an old motorcycle, the sound of cracking, the smooth touch of his skin of a body, the summer heat, the winter cold, the rainy season, the rains in the rainy season, the intense cold, the bad odor, the very good fragrance, the sweet taste, the sour taste. So all these are experiencing in our daily life. We all are experiencing these things and various things. But how? How we are experiencing? We are experiencing through our sense organs. Okay, our sense organs like eyes give us the sensation of vision, ears give us the sensation of hearing, skin sense something, nose smells, and tongue tastes. So physical energy emanates from objects such as light, sound waves, heat, and touch. And these physical energy presented at the stimuli. So these, so whatever the sensation we are getting through our sense organs. So process of sensation. Though it is very easy to understand, we have discussed so much in the sensation, so it is now it's not difficult to understand it. Physical energy such as light, sound, waves, it becomes a stimuli and then received by our sense organs like eyes, ears. Okay, and energy is next converted into electrical impulses, and this process is known as transduction. So what is transduction? The translation of a physical energy into electrical impulses. Okay, so these electrical impulses, these travel from the sense organs along nerve fibers to our central nervous system and finally to appropriate area of the cerebral cortex. And the process of sensation includes the direct reception and transmission of message to cerebral cortex. Then it goes to our like cerebral cortex and it give us the feeling of cold and smell, etc. So this is all about the sensation. Okay. So I think this should be very clear to all of you. So now we will study about perception. So perception is like in the very first slide we have talked about the perception. It is the interpretation of the things which we are getting through sensation. So what is perception? The process by which we recognize, interpret, or give meaning to the information provided by sense organs is called perception. So what we are doing in this, we are recognizing the thing, then we are interpreting the thing, and we are giving meaning to the information. Whatever the information we are getting through our sense organs, we are giving meaning to that information. And in this, while giving information, yeah, while interpreting stimuli or event, sometimes individual, like every time, not sometimes, every time individuals construct that in their own way. So this is very subjective. Okay, it's not like that I am constructing from the information which I am getting through the environment, the other person will construct in the same way. Okay, so there will be different according to the different people, according to the this depends on their subjective thoughts. So it is not merely an interpretation of objects or events of the external or internal world as they exist. Instead, it is also a conception of those objects and events from one's own point of view. So we are constructing the knowledge in our own point of view. Okay, so this is different to every person. How every person is perceiving the thing, like things are same. Like if we are going to the garden by with my friends, so we all are in the garden. But what I am perceiving in a different way, the other friend is perceiving in a different way, the third one is different way. So the perception is very subjective and it depends on one's own point of view. Okay. So this was the perception. Now what are the stages of perception? First one is selection. So selection is we have to like select the stimuli. For example, if we are going in the garden, so there are so much things in the garden. In the picture, then there are many things and we cannot take in so much as the capacity of the brain is limited. So we cannot perceive each and everything. So we have to select what we want to see, what is important for us, what is according to our taste. Okay, so the world that we live in is filled with infinite number of stimuli that we might attend to, but our brains do not have resources to attend to all these stimuli. So our first step is selection, which means selecting what we would like to attend. This is usually conscious. This is usually unconscious. Sometimes it's very beautiful. You see a very beautiful flower in the garden, and unconsciously you see that flower and you move towards that flower. You want to see it, you want to observe it, you want to smell it. So this is usually unconscious, but sometimes intentional decision is also there. You intentionally want to see something. You are going in a garden because you want intentionally want to see a particular plant, a particular flower, or like that. So second is organization. Okay. So now you have see the thing, you have select the things. Now you what you do generally, you organize the information which you get. And organize of the information depends upon your attention. For example, see the second figure. If you are seeing the figure 2.8 on which it is written 2.8, so if you are focusing more on the black part, then you will see the different thing. Okay, so if you will see the white portion more on, focus more on white portion, you will see two faces. Okay, so it depends upon how you organizing the information. In the first figure, if you concentrate more on one side, you will see the duck. If you will see towards my right hand, for example, towards the right hand, you will see a rabbit, and the and if you see other side, it will seems to you as a duck. So it depends upon how you organizing the how you are organizing the information. In the WhatsApp group also you have seen many pictures comes like this, what you are seeing, and they said they can like guess about your personality. So I'm not commenting on the like personality type. If you like, if you are seeing this portion, then this is your personality. But like this is the type how you organize the information. So interpretation. So in this last stage, meaning is assigned to the organized stimuli. Okay, we assign the meaning to the stimuli, and it depends upon how we are like what meaning we are drawing from the stimuli depends upon our experiences, our expectations, our needs, our belief, and our other factors. So this stage is also very subjective in nature, and the same stimuli can be interpreted differently by different individuals. So same things can be drawn different meanings by the different individual. So what is perceptual input? We are taking information through our sense organs. Then the process is selecting, organizing, interpreting, and then the output is overt output. Overt output is how we showing our behavior. Covert output is our there is change in our belief, or there is some addition in our belief, or our attitude changes. So this is covert. Covert means which we can't see. Overt means which we can see. So behavior is that which we can see. So these are the stages of perception: selecting, organizing, interpreting. Okay, so I think this should be very clear to you. So now we move towards theoretical approaches to perception. So first we talk about the very first approach, that is bottom-up processing and top-down processing. So bottom-up processing is also known as the data-driven processing, because perception begins with the stimulus itself. As soon as you saw the stimulus, the perception started to begin. And processing is carried out in one direction from the retina to the visual cortex, with each successive stage in the visual pathway carrying out an even more complex analysis of the input. So what is bottom-up processing? Okay, from bottom to up. So at the bottom, when you saw any stimulus, okay, you start perceiving it. Okay, you start making meaning from that. Now, top-down processing, it refers to the use of contextual information in pattern recognition. Means what you are using when you are doing the top-down processing, you are also taking into mind the contextual information which is present with the stimulus. For example, understanding difficult handwriting is easier. When it is easier, when reading complete sentence rather than reading single and isolated words. Why this is? Because the meaning of the surrounding words provide a context to aid understanding. So if you want to understand difficult handwriting, suppose there is a handwriting and you are not able to understand it a single word. But what happens sometimes when you read the whole sentence, you make a meaning of that. You know, okay, this word should be this. Okay, so why this happen? And something it's also happened. You actually, when you are reading a sentence, you don't know the meaning of a word. But what happens when you read the whole sentence? You get the meaning of that word. So what this is top-down processing, because how do you get the meaning of that word or how you to understand that word? Because the meaning of surrounding words provide a context to aid understanding. Then you understand, okay, the sentence is saying this, so the meaning of this word should be this. Okay, so this is top-down processing. Now, laws of perceptual organization. Okay, so some of the basic perceptual processes can be described by a series of principles that focus on the way we organize bits and pieces of organization. And this law of perceptual organization is known as Gestalt law of organization. And if you remember, we have studied in our earlier class about the Gestalt school of psychology, the Gestalt perspective. So Gestalt perspective, your Gestalt laws is given by a group of German psychologists who studied pattern or Gestalts, and these were Kohler, Kafka, and Wertheimer. So what do you mean by Gestalt? It means a regular figure or a form. According to Gestalt psychology, we perceive different stimuli not as different element, but as an organized whole that carries a definite form. So this is a Gestalt psychology, means to see the thing as a whole, not in small parts. Okay, I have also given you example of when you are opening a book. When you open a book, you see the index. So index is a Gestalt view of the book. Okay, you came to know all the chapters in the book, which the book contains. So this is a Gestalt view, to seeing the book as a whole. So these laws of perceptual organization, these are various. In this, there are various laws, and so first is law of figure-ground relationship. Okay, so this principle says that we have a tendency to segregate our word in the form of figure and ground. Okay, so we always see a figure against the background. So it is our tendency to see the figure against the background. And figure is that part of the stimuli which has our focus of the visual field, whereas the ground is background. So figure has a definite shape and is better remembered where background is shapeless and has no limits. Now look at the figure. If you pay more attention on the black background, you will see the two people. Okay, you will see the two people. But when you see the white portion, what you will see? You will see the pieces of chess. Okay, two queens and one bishop. And when you focus on the chess pieces, the two people disappeared. And if you will focus more on the two people, then these chess pieces will disappear. So this is the case of figure ground relationship. Ki on which background you are focusing more. If you will focus on black background, then you will see some another figure. If you will focus on white one, then you will see some another figure. So you will organize the figure against the background. Sometimes it will happen. Okay, you are seeing the chess pieces, and some friend of yours is seeing the two people in the same figure. Okay, so depends on on what you are focusing. Now, second is law of proximity. So as you are seeing, there are various circles. Some are close to each other and some are far away from each other. Now this refers to the grouping of elements or objects that occur close together. Okay. So according to what is generally happens in our life, when we see the things close to each other, we make a group of that. We perceived as a group. We used to perceive these that things as a group, which occurs close to each other. While the things feel far to each other, we do not constitute as a group. So, in order to perceive stimuli meaningfully, stimuli which are closer to each other are perceived by us belonging to one group. So, due to this reason, people tend to see circles as cluster or group or rather than individual circles. Okay, because these circles are close to each other, so they will see as a group and they will not see as a individual circles. Okay, these are the individual circles, these are not a group. So it is a tendency of our brain to group large element as one so as to make interpretation more easily. Okay, so if you are joining, if like a group is there in the market and you are just standing there, so you will be understood as a part of the group. Okay, because it is the tendency of our brain. If you are standing close with the element, so our brain will understand you as a group. Now, third one is law of good figure or law of pagnage or law of symmetry. Okay. It means good figure. Therefore, this principle is also called as law of good figure. And according to this principle, we have a tendency to organize stimuli to make the figure balanced or symmetrical. So it is a general tendency of the human. Whatever figure we are making in our drawing or whatever figure we are seeing, we generally want to make the figure balanced or symmetrical. We don't want to look it abstract. So out of all possible ways of grouping stimuli, we tend to group stimuli in the simplest and stable shape. We used to group the stimuli in the simplest and stable way and in a balanced shape. So we can say the simpler forms are more perceived by us. Okay, so for example, instead of perceiving as 5 separate circles, what we are seeing we are seeing as a symbol of Olympics. So we tend to see the thing as a whole, not in the parts. So here we are not seeing 5 circles. We are seeing what the 5 circles are making, and what they are making. They are making a symbol of the Olympics. So this is like good figure. We want to see the good figure. Okay. So this is just an example of 5 circle. If you make some other things, if you make some random things on the drawing, your brain used to interpret those different things in a like as a whole. Your brain tend to interpret the meaning of these random things as a whole. Okay. So now law of continuation. Okay. And what law of continuation said? It refers to our tendency to perceive figures in continuation rather than in parts. Okay, so it is the tendency of our brain to perceive figures in continuation. We want to perceive figures in continuation and we don't want to see in parts. And this principle is exhibited more in the perception of line. Okay, so if we are seeing this line, what you are seeing, you are not seeing that there is a black patch, there are black patches, there is a line of black, yeah, there is a black line, and there are separate circles on it. You are not seeing this type. What you are seeing there are two lines with white patches on it, with white circles on it. You are not seeing differently, you are not seeing circles in a different manner and like black patches in a different manner. So this is our basic tendency of the brain to see the things in the continuation and not in the parts. Okay. For example, when you are moving towards the road, if you generally see the road, is like going from here to there. If you have to move, if you have to go to some place, we see the road as a whole. We don't see we don't pay attention of, okay, the road is not good here and there is something on the road, there is. So what we pay generally on the continuation of the road. Now, law of common fate. So this law involves movement. It states that things are organized according to their movement together in a group. Okay, so stimuli moving in similar directions are perceived as belonging to the same group as shown in the figure. So these all principles are of the Gestalt psychology or Gestalt school. So it also says that, okay, if there are various things and they are moving together in a group, so they are moving in the same direction. So what we will see, we will believe that they belong to the same group as shown in the figure. Okay, this is the figure. This is the like picture which you generally see at the time of the jam. When there is a jam on the roads, you can see this picture many times. So what we will see, we make a group and we generally put these things which are moving in the same direction in the same group. Okay, so what we generally, when we are moving on a road and we see a jam and we see the cars moving in the same direction, so we know, okay, they are going in the same direction, they are going to a particular, they have to go this side. So we generally make a group. And if we are on the other side of the road, then those cars are moving in a different direction. So we said that those cars are in the different group. So when we are moving in the same direction, we make a group. We thought this belongs to the same group. Now next is law of closure. So we sense so many things, but it is a law of closure that completes our perception. The perceptual process organizes our perception of the stimulus by filling in the gaps in our sensation. Okay, up this, see this figure. See this figure. If you see this figure, you will not see. You can see there are three circles and there are two triangles. Okay, but the first triangle, the triangle which is beneath, which is in the background, you can see the lines of that triangle. But the triangle which do not have the lines, you cannot see the lines of these triangle, but you know this is a triangle. Then how do you know this is a triangle? Because you are seeing the picture as a whole. You are seeing the picture as a whole, and you know, and your brain knows, okay, this is a triangle because this is the law of the closure. We organize our perceptions of the stimulus, and we are filling in the gaps in our sensation. When we are percepting the things, when we are seeing the things, when we are interpreting the figure, we are filling the gaps in our mind. We know this is a triangle. Why? Because we are filling the gaps in our mind, and this is the law of closure. So in the law of closure, if the figure is like that, we fill the gaps in our sensation. Now, law of similarity. So this principle suggests that things are grouped together according to their similarity. Okay. So if the things are similar, we make a group of them. For example, sometimes we group the things on the basis of colors. Sometimes we group the things on the basis of the height, on the basis of fat and thin, on the basis of weight. So in real life, we used to do such type of thing. We used to categorize the thing according to their similarity. Okay. So this is same in the figure. This is same in the figure. We use, okay, these circles are black. These all the circles are black. Like when you play carom. Okay, you organize the things. You group the things according to the color of their goodies. Okay, like some goodies are yellow in color, and some are black in color, white and black actually, and one is of different color, one is of browny color. So we tend to group them according to their color in the Ludo game also. Okay, so and another example for example, in a cricket match, we tend to group players based on the color of their jersey. Okay, we know the jersey of our India, so we tend to group. We know if somebody is wearing that jersey, means that is from the India. So we tend to group players on the basis of their jersey. In Ludo, we tend to group the people on the basis of the colors of their coats, and like that. Okay, so this is law of similarity. Now, factors affecting perception. So there are various things which are affected by the perception. Before it, I want to say we have completed all the laws, which are the Gestalt law. Now we move towards factor affecting perception. Now, what are the factors which are affected by the perception? So, like effect of motivation or need and set as perceptual determinants. For what are the factors which can affect the perception? When, for example, in the case of need, our brain tend to perceive the things more easily, more rapidly when we are in need of that thing. For example, when a kid is going with you, in the mall, and the kid, what the kid is saying? Kid is saying, "Mom, there is a kid store, and we have to go there." but you don't have seen that kid store. Why? Because you don't need any. You don't need the toys, but the kid need the toys. So kid is seeing towards the kid toys. So what do you need in your life? You tend to perceive these things easily. If you are hungry, the smell of food, you smell of food catches your attention more easily. But if you are not hungry, if you have taken your food, if you are full, you will not observe the food. You will not observe the food stalls. You will not observe if somebody is eating the food, it will not catch your attention. You will not move towards that. You will not attract towards the food. But when we are very hungry and we want to eat something, okay, we tend to attract towards the food stall. We tend to attract towards the food. And I know many people, they have said that when they are hungry, they want to actually see the things in their mobile. They want to see the objects which can be eaten. They want to see the like burger, pizzas, and chole bhatures. They want to see in their mobiles because they are hungry. So can you imagine in the phone, if you are thinking the phone, it cannot let the phone cannot let the food in your mouth, but still you are seeing on the mobile. Why? Because you are in the need of the food. So you are also seeing the food. You are also thinking about the food, and the food is like you are also attracted towards the food. Okay, so when we are in need of something, we tend to it affect our perception. Many experimental studies have also reported the same effect. Now, motivation. When we are motivated towards something, okay, when something is motivated towards a thing, if you are motivated to purchase something, if you are motivated to participate in some essay competition, if you are motivated to take part in some type of class, some language class, then what you will find? You will find these losses easily because your perception is more on the things which is motivated towards your goal. Okay, so there is a effect of motivation or need and set as perceptual determinants. So these are the perceptual determinants. These are the determinants which are setting your perception in a particular direction, in the direction of your need, in the direction of your motivation. So various experiments has done towards these studies to show that, and in the classic experiment by Sanford, it was shown that hungry participants perceived ambiguous stimuli more as food-related stimuli than not hungry participants. So it was an experiment done by the Sanford, and it was also shown that the hungry participants perceive ambiguous stimuli. Okay, when they are hungry, they are perceiving ambiguous stimuli more as food. Okay, whatever stimuli comes to whatever stimuli is coming to their mind, that is food. And non-hungry, in case of non-hungry participant, it is not like that. Now, second is effect of expectation or perceptual expectation. So, sometimes it happens when you are seeing the things, and when you are seeing the things in a particular way, you perceive the things in a different time. For example, this is an experiment done by the Brunner, and it shows the role of expectation in our perception. So whatever you are expecting, you perceive the same thing. So they show the figure 12, 13, 14 to the participant. And they like 13 is not very clear now, but they show an ambiguous figure of 13, like 12, 13, 14. And in the second condition, they show A, C, and in the mid of it, they put the word 13. So what is that? what the people perceive. In the first figure, the people perceive that as 13 because it is between the 12 and 14. And in the second figure, the people perceive as B and not 13 because it is put between the A and C. So, because the people expecting कि if this is between the A and C, then it must be B. So, what they are expecting, they perceive the same thing. Now, effect of emotions. So, what do you think? Do you think emotion can change our perception? Yes. Emotions, there is a fact of emotions on our perception. Like words which are neutral, like apple, child, river, music, deep, table, chair, and words which are emotionally toned, like rape, war, penis, bitch. So these are the words which are more perceived by the people. And McGuinness has done the experiment on it. So he found significant difference between the neutral and the emotional words. So the threshold was very higher for the emotional word. People tend to perceive the words more which are emotionally toned instead of the words which are very neutral. Now, effect of stimulus characteristic. So it is also our perception also depends on what are the characteristic of a stimulus. So sometimes you have heard very like loudy horns used by the heavy trucks, and sometimes you get disturbed by those horns. Okay, why? Okay, what type of horn that the driver of the truck is using? So why they are using? They want to seek your attention. Sometimes you can see some boys, some youngsters in the bike when they used to ride the bike. They use such high volume horn, and which is not like which you don't feel good, but you like. Surprise, you get surprised कि why that person is using such type of font. So he is using such type of font just to attract you, just to get your perception, just to seek your attention. So studies have shown stimuli which sound, taste, look or feel different, they grab our attention more. So if you see, you know, okay, red color is the color of the danger. So if somebody is wearing the red color, if you are alone in the, for example, if you are alone in the island and you want to like attract help from some other person, so you will show the red shirt or red cloth. Why? Because red is the color which is generally get more perceived by the people. So if some stimulus has such kind of characteristics, so we get to attracted towards that. Like some people use lightning in their boards which are for their advertisement. So this is just to get the attraction of the people. Now, effect of experience. So prior experiences play a very important role in our perception. For example, if by mistake you perceive a rope as a snake in the dark, so then your previous experience is guiding your perceptual process. Okay. Now in the above figure, you see a flamingo shaped pen. So this is not a very typical pen, but you perceive it as a pen because sometimes you have seen the things before it. So when you have previously experienced the things, you able to perceive in a more clear way. So this is the effect of experience. Now effect of culture. So sometimes the culture makes different how we are perceiving the things. For example, if we are doing this gesture, if we are showing this by our hand, this means good, nice. In India, we think, oh, excellent, बढ़िया. Okay, but in Brazil, it is a rude gesture. So this example suggests that with the change in the culture, the meaning of the things change, the perception of the things change. Okay, so there is a fact of culture on our perception also. Sometimes a thing which seems very good in one culture is not good in other culture. Now perception of death. So perception of death is when we used to sometimes we used to see the world in three dimensions. It is called depth perceptions. Okay, we see the length, breadth, and height sometimes, and we see the size, shape, and direction of various objects, and also the distance between the object. So, in perceiving depth, we depend on two main sources of information. One is called binocular cues, and another is monocular cues. Okay, so there are two types of cues while we are perceiving the things. Now, monocular cues. Monocular cues says that like these are those information or cues that our brain receives from one eye only. And these cues are weaker than binocular cues in a sense. So there are monocular and binocular. And these cues, when we see with one eye, sometimes now when we see something, we used to see with our one eye closed to see more clear picture of that. And these cues are used by painter to give us 3D perspective from a flat painting. Like this is the monocular view. If you are seeing this picture and the boats are sailing in the river, so this gives us a 3D perspective. Now, relative size. Sometimes retinal image allow us to judge distance based on our past and present experience. So, as the object gets away, the retinal image becomes smaller and smaller. So, we tend to perceive an object farther away when it appears small and closer when it appears bigger. So, if you are seeing in the picture, the ball which is big, we are seeing it as a closer. This ball is close to us, but the balls which are small, we are seeing it as these balls are farther from us. So this is also depend upon the size of the things. Now, interposition or overlapping. So these cues occur when some portion of the object is covered by another object. So, for example, if two objects that overlap at depth, even though the object represented here are in fact two dimensional. You see the you are seeing the two circles. In the first figure, there are two circles. Okay, no one circle is covering any other, but in the second figure, one circle is covering the other circle. So the circle which is behind the first circle, that is the red circle, we perceive the red circle is farther away, and the blue circle that it appears closer to us. So this is interposition or overlapping. When the things overlap, the things which is overlapped is considered to be farther. Now, aerial perspective, atmosphere. So if objects are perceived at a distance, if there is a presence of haze in the environment, and haze is because the dust particles, smoke or water vapor in the environment. So, and sometimes the distance can be deceptive. Due to the haze, it is looking farther, but it's not very far. So it can be deceptive. The same mountain can be perceived as nearer when the haze is not there, and farther when the haze is there. So this is the aerial perspective or due to the haze. We feel the things farther or nearer. Now, linear perspective, and this cue is based on the convergence of straight line at a point on the horizon. So, if you see the figure, the road is going on, and when the parallel lines of the road are coming closer to each other, it seems that the road is going farther and farther. So closer the lines are, the greater will be the distance. So this is the linear perspective. Now texture gradient. So in texture gradient, if we have density more, then element is seen farther away. So if you are seeing the flowers, which we can see like which you can see in the which you can see, so you will see that these flowers are nearer to us. But when you see more, there are more density of the flowers, so it seems like flowers are very farther to us. Now next is motion paradox. So it's so the distance object appear to move slowly than the object nearby. So when if we are moving in a train or we are moving in a bus, so if the object is near to us, then what happens? It moves fastly. When the object is very far to us, it moves very slowly. Like when you are traveling in a bus, you are seeing the sun or you are seeing the moon. You will see everywhere the sun and the moon, because but it feels like it is moving very slowly, but the things which are nearer to you moves very fastly. Now binocular cues, which are also known as physiological cues. So the cues which we receive from both eyes, and this is retinal disparity and convergence. Now retinal disparity occurs because our two eyes have different location in our head, and these eyes are separated by a distance of 6.5 centimeter. So whatever the image formed on the retina of each eye is slightly different, and this difference is known as retinal disparity. Okay, so our brain interprets a large retinal disparity to mean a close object and a small retinal disparity to mean a distance object. Okay, so next is convergence. Convergence is it also like convergence angles formed by our eye. So when our eye sees a thing, our eye make an angle while focusing on an object. So convergence angle for distance and nearby objects are totally different. So when an object is at distance, our eye makes a smaller convergence angle, but when an object is closer, our eye makes a larger convergence angle. So this change in convergence gives a clue about distance and depth to the perceiver. So this is the convergence, and this is a binocular cue. Okay, so in the figure you can also see the thing which is farther from us, it makes a smaller angle, and things which is nearer to us makes a large convergence angle. Okay, and this gives a clue about distance and depth to the perceiver. So this is a psychological clue. So in this class we have studies about various type of cues also, and there are two types of cues: psychological cues, which is also known as binocular cues, and other one is the monocular cue. So monocular cues are those cues which can be seen by one eye only, and binocular cues are which can be seen by two eyes only. So till now we have completed our two lessons, lesson 1 and lesson 2, unit 1 and unit 2. So in the next class we are going to see lesson number 3. We are going to study lesson number 3. So I think this is very clear to you what we have studied in this class. This is, I don't think this is very tough. This is very easy, and this is like related to our life, what we are daily percepting the thing, what we are daily seeing the things, how we are seeing the things. Okay, and so what is perception? Perception is interpreting what we are seeing, like what we are taking from what the information we are taking from the environment and making a meaning of it is the perception. Okay, so if you want to revise it, we can. So sensation is what is your window to the world, what we are getting from the environment through our sense organs, and percepting is what interpretation, what comes to our window, what we are interpreting from the world. Okay, so sensation, we can say it is the relation between various forms of sensory stimulation and their registration by sense organs, and it has following components. So it includes the involvement of sense organs, it involves the presence of the stimulus, and it involves the constructing knowledge out of raw material. And this contact is at just an initial contact, that is contact without meaning. So, for example, if we are smelling something, if we are smelling the rose, then what we are seeing, we are taking the rose is the stimulus, we are smelling the smell, we are constructing the knowledge, and this is the initial contact. Then what we when we physical energy, okay, like cracking of the old motorcycle. Well, there are various various stimulus which are present in the environment. If you are seeing this class, it is also an stimulus too. Okay. Now the process of, then we learned about the process of sensation. So this is all we have studied. We will continue in the next class, lesson number 3. Thank you so much.